Hi, this is Savannah,
And this is Brian from the Dorky Diva Show,
and you're listening to Star Wars.
the best place for below average Star Wars.
In a world where people need 80s and 90s movie reviews, two regular Geordies combine forces to bring you the Brother to Brother 80s and 90s movie review podcast. Check them out on Twitter, YouTube, and all decent podcast vendors.
Welcome to Star Wars, best place for below average Star Wars.
Hello there, and welcome to the Star Wars Show, the best place for below average Star Wars. I am the Geordie Jedi Pete.
I'm Jason Hondo Ling.
And I'm Kat Reese-Elke.
And we are back with a brand new episode of Star Wars. We're going to be focusing on those two awesome trailers that just released. One for the brand new animated series coming to Disney Plus, that is season 2 of Star Wars: The Bad Batch. And then also we'll be talking about the brand new trailer for the sequel to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. But we're going to dive straight in and talk about the Bad Batch first. We'll go straight to you, Kat. How excited are you for the Bad Batch Season 2? And then how much did this trailer whet your appetite even more for it?
I think the Bad Batch Season 2 has almost been sort of on the back burner because of things like Andor and Tales of the Jedi taking so much of the marketing. And I'd almost forgotten about it, really. So to see this trailer was a reminder, actually, of just how amazing the Bad Batch are. And while I wasn't necessarily super hyped for it before I saw the trailer, I think the trailer has definitely got me more excited because it looks like there's going to be much more of a focus in Season 2 on the Empire and how clones are going from their position in the Republic to actual stormtroopers. So I think there's a lot of moral questions there to be asked by the clones, by the viewers, and it's looking to be a lot more political. Like the first season was very action adventure. We had Omega finding her feet, and while the Empire was sort of there, it was more in the background as this looming threat. Whereas this trailer for Season 2 definitely seems to be suggesting that the Empire are going to be much more central to the plot. And it was great to see faces like Rex and Cody, because Cody went through with Order 66, as we know from Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, this trailer is sort of suggesting that maybe he's having second thoughts. So to see some of the beloved clones from the Clone Wars getting action in this second season, I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I think, the first season was certainly a lot of action adventure and sort of the clones getting used to being sort of on their own and being fathers to Omega and about Omega and Omega finding her feet outside of Camino. But I'm glad you brought up Cody. I think we see Cody execute Order 66 in Revenge of the Sith. And I think, my mind almost painted him as like this bad guy. But, in that moment, he follows his orders. But we haven't really seen anything of Cody after, of like, what did he do? Did he stand by? And then obviously, I think it hints in this trailer that maybe he's questioning some of the orders they're now getting from the Empire and that transition from the Republic to the Empire, as you mentioned, Kat. Another thing I noticed in the trailer is that we're starting to see the armor morph more towards a stormtrooper. We've seen. I think we saw sort of a half and half armor in the last season. Then here we can see it morphing more towards a stormtrooper here. Jason, obviously you're a big Bad Batch fan. What were some of your favorite parts of the trailer?
Oh well, yeah, I have to say this is something I like Cat I hadn't forgotten about and have been waiting with bated breath for. Um, the one thing I noticed is straight away, the Omega has obviously matured and is now very much a part of the Bad Batch. The opening sequence, she's there front and center. So I'm quite looking forward to the way that dynamic's going to, I think, moved on from the first season. Obviously, we've got a lot of familiar characters reappearing. I'm really quite interested to see where they're going to go with the storyline for Gunji from the Clone Wars. Obviously, we've got um, anyone who remembers that episode of the Clone Wars, or the arc in the Clone Wars, I should say, where Ahsoka took the younglings to get their kyber crystals, and obviously we saw Gunji was a very sort of character that had a lot of growing up to do, and was obviously going to need a lot of guidance. And as I sort of pointed out, that has, because of Order 66, that hasn't happened. And obviously Gunji with his lightsaber seems to still be embracing the Jedi Order. So it'll be interesting to see, how that character's carrying on now that, to all intents and purposes, the Jedi have fallen. Um, to me, it looks like obviously we've got the political side. I also think we might be seeing more of, from the comments with Rex, the early days of the rebellion as well. When Rex mentions a mission. So I can sort of see that maybe there'd be some involvement there. Um, so all in all, yeah, we've obviously still got lots of action scenes teased in the trailer. So it's very much Bad Batch back in action. I'm looking forward to a lot of Wrecker's one-liners as well, which obviously, he's just brilliant at doing, and just really diving back into how these clones are coping now that the Empire's risen.
I'm glad you mentioned Gunji because or Gungi.
Yeah,
He hasn't seemed to have aged much. I didn't think in this series. So again, I don't think we've moved that further along the timeline
But
than
he's
we
a
were in
Wookiee.
season one.
Wookiees don't age the same way.
Oh, good point. Actually, there we go. One thing I did notice is that obviously he has a blaster, and then he sort of uses the Force to pull his lightsaber. Um, it seemed in the edit that his lightsaber wasn't on his waist, like it was somewhere else, and he pulled it from maybe an old Jedi belt from somewhere. So I wonder if he's very similar to. I got vibes of Kanan in Rebels when he hides the
yeah,
lightsaber, and then in that moment in Rebels when they need the distraction is when he puts it on and turns it on and sort of gives the Empire that shock. It was sort of felt very similar this scene here where Gungi was there with his blaster and Omega was there with a blaster and they're being surrounded almost, and then he uses the Force to pull that lightsaber hilt from somewhere and ignites it. So yeah, I wonder, do you think Gungi's maybe been in hiding, or do you think is he in a similar place to Kanan mindset wise, or maybe Kanan Rebels? Um, what's your thoughts on Gungi and where he's been and where he's going, Kat?
I I think that Gunji's probably been in hiding because he was a Padawan when we last saw him getting his Kyber crystal on Ilum with Ahsoka, and then he would have still been a Padawan during the time of Order 66. And I think Kanan, or Caleb as he was during Order 66, I think the Order broke some part of him, and that's sort of why we see him go down this path of. Kanan doesn't exactly become a bad guy, but he does become a bit self-centered, and that's the only way he can survive. But I don't think Gunji would do the same. He's a Wookiee, and I don't think many people suspect Wookiees of being Jedi. So I think he'd probably be quite safe in hiding. It's interesting that he's using a blaster, though, because he definitely didn't have that during the time of the Clone Wars. So that's again hinting at how he's hiding. He's trying to hide his force powers, trying to use a different weapon to keep himself safe. And I think he's he's probably just going to be trying to blend in, like sort of just as a normal Wookiee somewhere. It's impossible to tell from the trailer where that's taking place. So I don't know if he's working like maybe as a ship hand or something. But I'm just glad we're seeing him again because he was the first Wookiee Jedi in canon, and it's so good seeing him again.
Definitely. When you think about where Wookiees are now, the High Republic showed us some Wookiee Jedis, and also in those leaked images from that appeared in the Daily Mail this week from the set of the Acolyte showed us a Wookiee Jedi as well. Sort of Gunji's where it all started. One of my thoughts was, I wonder if maybe, Jason's mentioning the rebellion, and I wonder if the Bad Batch get involved with the Rebel Cell, and I wonder if Gunji's actually part of a Rebel Cell, maybe.
That would be really cool. And I think he definitely had such a kind-hearted spirit in the Clone Wars that I could see Gunji completely helping with a rebel cell doing that. And this could even link to sort of like the pathways mentioned in Kenobi, where Jedi were, smuggled through sort of rebellious cells to safety.
Definitely. I definitely see that tying in Andor. I also thought that we sort of see the Senate in this trailer, and we see Palpatine in the Senate, and the Senate, the way the Senate looked, gave me vibes of how it looked in Andor with Mon Mothma, and we see Bail Organa in this trailer in a snapshot. So I wonder if we're maybe going to see, season 1 was the adventure of the Bad Batch, as I mentioned, and sort of them going on their adventures trying to get free of Camino and free of the Empire hunting them a little bit. But I wonder if this is going to be more like setting up the rebellion and the Senate situation and the Empire sort of becoming the full Empire. What were your thoughts, Jason, on seeing Bail Organa and the Senate? Do you think it's going to be a big part of the story?
Definitely. And that was obviously, I'm just trying to find it now because I was going through the other day the different titles for the episodes that they've released. And very much the story to me, I feel, is going to be about revealing more of the Empire's plans and details of obviously it was hinted at the end of the episode where oh, sorry, Camino, um we had the situation where Tonwi was taken by the Empire, and I can see there that we're going to see possibly to do with the cloning and even where Snoke and the Palpatine clone could come into it. So I definitely think that I think there's a point that we're going to start seeing reveals. And also, I think it's what's been noted with a lot of the Star Wars stuff that's going on at the moment is the literature and stuff are tying up the loose ends that maybe people weren't necessarily happy with like the Rise of Skywalker and stuff like that. And obviously, as we know, this series perfect way to reveal what no one really knew had gone on behind the scenes.
Quite possibly, quite possibly. And they've got 16 episodes to sort of tell us some of this story as well, so lots of story time. Kat, what were your thoughts on seeing Bail Organa and, of course, also the Senate, the Imperial Senate?
As a big fan of sort of the political side of Star Wars, I always am fascinated to see more of what was going on before and sort of during the build up to the true Rebel Alliance. And we know that Bail Organa is a major player in setting up the rebellion. So to see him there, even briefly in the trailer, does hint that maybe he's looking to recruit. And I think, the Bad Batch would definitely be a possibility there, especially with Rex's message to them at the end. Rex is in contact with Bail. And there's also the possibility of Ahsoka making an appearance as Fulcrum, because we know that she's one of Bale's informants from the ending of Ahsoka by Key Johnston, and it's quite possible that we're going to sort of see Bale becoming frustrated by the Imperial Senate and looking to take more and more serious steps. And again, sort of tying into Andor's idea of there's only so much the senators can tolerate, like Mon Mothma and Bail Organa, before they really start to do something. And I also think it's great to bring Bail in because whenever we sort of saw Bail in the Clone Wars, he was always very respectful to the clones, and he did treat them very much as individuals. And I think he was one of the few Republic senators, apart from Padme, who did see the clone troopers as more than just an army. You know, he saw them as individual people with thoughts and aspirations of their own. So I think he's going to want to encourage troopers like Cody to sort of reevaluate their loyalty to the Empire. And I do wonder if we're going to get a bit of an interaction between him and the likes of Crosshair and Cody.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to see a lot of interaction with sort of the clones who stand by the Empire and want to go down this total sort of Third Reich style, change, and also the clones who are like, all we did was follow one order, but now all of a sudden we're controlling the galaxy. We're not fighting for freedom anymore. We're controlling the galaxy, and we're putting controls on the innocent people and how they feel about that. So it could be very interesting. I like how the trailer started. We start with like the Bad Batch on the run from a mad group of crazy crabs, giant crabs on the beaches, which I thought was typical Bad Batch adventure. I don't know what the stolen looked like. They maybe stolen something from this place as well. I thought the trailer started with like crazy Bad Batch adventure, being chased by crazy crabs. I thought it was brilliant. To then sort of the more serious side of the galaxy when we saw sort of the Imperial Senate and the Empire and what's going on there. Am I right in thinking some of the things I noticed as well? We saw sort of a giant creature, sort of similar. It looked almost like a Godzilla movie the way it was shot, but the creature to me looked like something similar from the Zepho characters, the Zepho world from Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Don't know if anybody got that vibe or not.
I actually got the Horizon Dawn tall neck vibe, but Zepho is good too.
What do we think? Do you think that's maybe a creature created by the Empire, or it almost like it could be made out of metal as well? So it could be like maybe they've engineered a creature like they try to do. In Clone Wars when they captured the Zero Beast, what were they doing with that? Trying to clone it? Who knows? Maybe they have actually created monsters. What do you think, Jason?
It actually look very metallic, and when I was sort of listening to the sound effects in the trailer, underneath the music, it sort of did sound not quite organic, but whatever it is, yeah, I definitely agree that there's sort of Godzilla vibes in the way it was shot, and it definitely looked like some kind of threat to something. I actually wanted like a Zillo Beast to come out and for the two to start fighting like Godzilla versus King Kong.
We might get that. Jason, what's your thoughts on the monsters?
Yeah, it's something that's been alluded to previously, and I get a feeling with the Bad Batch that Dave Filoni is very much picking up on some of the threads that he's already created and running with them, which I love because there were so many threads that were set off with the Clone Wars. And to me, this series is the continuation of the Clone Wars. As a fan, I always wanted. So yeah, I'm hoping that maybe we will see that sort of thing. Again, as I said previously, I'm convinced that we are going to be getting more information on the cloning and the whole situation of what the Empire are doing with the clones. So that would fit perfectly with that again. So there's all these little things that they're just sort of drip feeding to us.
Definitely. I wonder if we're going to see sort of the evolution of the Imperial Army. So they've got these clones that the clones exist from the previous regime. We know that come the original trilogy. the clones have all but a few been replaced with conscripts. That's a good way to keep controllers, to have the public come and join your army. And then we see, we've seen in Star Wars Rebels the early incarnations of the Dark Trooper. We've seen in the Mandalorian sort of the final incarnations of the Dark Trooper. So I wonder if we're going to maybe see some Dark Troopers involved in this, or early incarnations of them. We saw Thrawn was experimenting with not just the TIE Defender project, but trooper projects as well. We've seen in Clone Wars, they capture that Zero Beast for a reason. Are we going to see that come out here? We do know, that we're going to see Mount Tantus, which is, a secret Imperial facility. We know that they've captured Torn Wee, probably the last remaining Camino scientists. The rest have obviously all been genocided. Working on this lab as well, but other scientists from other places. So yeah, I wonder if, not only are we going to see sort of the galaxy shift into this Imperial dominated world where we're going to see rebellion rise, but also the Imperials start to, be a bit nasty and be naughty with the tactics they use and the technologies they use and the type of troopers they use. It's all very interesting to me.
Yeah, I definitely think this. Oh,
go on, Jason.
Yeah, I definitely think I've just found all of the episode titles. And I definitely think that that's hinted at. The first two episodes, Spoils of War and Ruins of War. So straight away, we're sort of looking at the consequences of the Clone Wars, and then we've got the Solitary Clone, which I think is pretty obvious is going to be the episode that we're going to see Cody come into. Then we've got the Clone Conspiracy, and Plan 99 is the last episode. All of those episode titles are hinting that we're going to see what's going on with the Imperials.
Plan
Definitely.
99 definitely sounds like Palpatine is up to something yet again.
Yeah, definitely.
Or I think Plan 99 could be the Bad Batch, their last plan to do whatever they need to do in honor of Clone 99, their best friend who died. Because the episode before Plan 99 is called The Summit. So I think they're going to raid Mount Tantus, and Plan 99 is going to be their plan to sort of rid Mount Tantus of whatever it is they've got to get rid of it.
But if Mount
well
Tantus
be.
is telling the same part as it did in Heir to the Empire by Timothy Bajan, then Plan 99 could be a cloning plan by the Emperor.
Woohoo. Exciting times. Kat,
There's so
Kat, is there anything from the trailer? I know you've got probably lots of notes. Anything on the trailer we've not brought up that you want to highlight?
I suppose one thing we haven't brought up is the new character. I'm assuming you say it Fee Genoa. She's with Sid. And she's the one, I think, who seems to be sending the Bad Batch on a new mission. And I wonder if that's the mission that leads to the crazy crab incident.
So I think she is perhaps, I don't know why, but I just got like good guy feels from her. And
She
I
does
think,
seem like a lovable scoundrel type.
so I think she's a rebel cell leader, and I think she's got Gunji.
That would be cool. I mean, we know that Sid is sort of she's like a diamond in the rough kind of character. So I could definitely see her being sympathetic to the rebellion.
Yeah, like I can see Sid putting the Bad Batch in contact with this person as like the middle person. Do you know what I mean? So like Sid wouldn't do this on her own, but she'll help, like being the middleman or the middle woman, the middle Trandoshan, for this cause, maybe. Jason, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, again, a character that sort of she gave me the vibes of the sisters that we met at the end of the Clone Wars, and then who have obviously shown up in the first season of the Bad Batch. And yeah, it's definitely, for me, I was getting rebel vibes, or at least someone who wanted to fight the imperial tyranny. So I'm definitely thinking that this character is someone that's going to become an ally of the Bad Batch. Um, so yeah, with every trailer they always raise so many questions, and then we have to wait for the series to drop before we can actually get a few answers.
We do indeed. Any closing thoughts on the trailer, Kat?
I think that it's definitely reignited my excitement for the Bad Batch and seeing more of Omega again. And I think it's going to sort of balance this sort of fun comedic vibe that we got from the first season with a much more serious plot line. And that, for me, is going to be super intriguing.
Definitely. Jason, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I'd just echo that I just can't wait to see the adventures continue. I'm looking forward to seeing how Omega's grown as a character because it definitely looks like she has. I want to see what the consequences are for what happened with Crosshair at the end of the first season. Because obviously he's clearly still very much in the Imperial grasp. And obviously, the introduction of characters like Gunji and Cody just make me even more excited and just nostalgic for the days of the Clone Wars.
Definitely. And obviously, we've spoke a lot about sort of the transition from, Bad Batch Adventures to State of the Galaxy and the Rebellion. The word rebellion, the word rebels. Jason, you want to, obviously we were discussing before we went on air, Jason, about that something you noticed with the animation and the direction the show would go in. So I'll let you take that away and tell everybody what you
Yeah,
noticed and what you think.
yeah. Noticing from the trailer, it was just a vibe that I got that the animation style. I felt that the characters appeared smoother and more defined, similar to the way that the characters were animated for the Rebels. So I just feel that maybe we're moving forward in the transition period, and knowing what a master Filoni is, is this being hinted at? Which then also opens up, as you say, Kanan's obviously already been involved in the Bad Batch as a youngster, and also Hera. So could we see more of these characters reappear? Um, I'd love to see maybe even the introduction of Zeb, see how he became involved with it all, and all of this could happen in the Bad Batch season.
Definitely. And then just to highlight some of the, so obviously Bad Batch returns for season 2 on January 4th, which is a Wednesday, and all the episodes will be Wednesdays, so it's like they are on Disney Plus. We get a double episode um, to begin with. So that's episode 1, episode 2, which is Spoils of War, Ruins of War, as I've talked about, maybe hiding back to the Clone Wars. Then we get one episode a week until February 8th, which must be the mid-season finale, I'm assuming, where we get a double episode called The Clone Conspiracy and Truth and Consequences, which could very well be related to maybe Cody's storyline, if he's going to come good, or resist maybe. And then we're back to one episode a week until March 29th, where we get the double episode finale, which is called The Summit and Plan 99. So, 16 episodes. It runs from January all the way to the end of March. So we've got like 3 months of Star Wars, which is going to be fantastic. And in this we get 3 weeks where we get a double episode at the beginning, double episode in the middle, and double episode at the end, which to me tells me that they've got a very planned out storyline to get through to get us to the point of the end of the story, which will be very exciting. Has anybody got any closing remarks about Bad Batch? We'll move on to the second trailer we're going to review today.
Just the general excitement. I'm already looking forward to it. I'm hoping that Filoni has done his magic, as I'm sure he has. And like you say, it's perfect. We've got that in January, and we've got so much more Star Wars content to come next year that I think that's the perfect way to start the year off.
Definitely. So moving on to the second trailer we've got is for obviously the sequel to the video game Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and it is Star Wars Jedi Survivor, set 5 years after the first game. Let's go to you. What were your vibes from this trailer? Sort of the announcement of us getting the trailer came out of nowhere. We've got a release date of March as well, so the game's done, which is exciting times. Can't wait to play this game. we're going to get the game sort of in the final weeks of Bad Batch being on television, which, as we say, we're in the golden age of Star Wars, where we're just getting Star Wars after Star Wars after Star Wars. We're actually going to have Star Wars at the same time here. So yeah, what was your first thoughts on this game trailer?
Astonishing. The visuals of this trailer, I thought I was watching a trailer for a Star Wars movie. It was just so thrilling, intriguing, and setting an even darker tone than Fallen Order. And Fallen Order was pretty dark in places, so that was pretty impressive. And whoever was doing that monologue at the start, absolute, my hat goes off to whoever that was, because it was amazing. That monologue is still in my head on repeat, and I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I think I'm wondering if that was maybe the person who is inside the Bacta tank.
It does seem to be. I mean, they have the monologue going at the same time that they're showing this Bacta tank. And it's very intriguing. This is the same Bacta tank that we saw in the teaser trailer, which was released at Celebration. And it's quite clear from the imagery that it's been there a while. It looks very decrepit and almost in ruins. So whoever's in there has been in there for, I think, quite a while. And the way he says that, that he was betrayed by the one he trusted most, it does give you either Jedi or Sith vibes.
Definitely. I think, this trailer opens up with sort of Cal Kestis sort of approaching a chamber that he opens with some sort of contraption in his hand. Revealing the Bacta tank with somebody in the Bacta tank who has very long hair. So, if they've been there a while, the hair would grow. Still, they're alive in there. Also, there's Bacta tanks around the Bacta tank with sort of like, almost like plants in there. So, could it be Drengia? Maybe not, but, there's definitely other Bacta tanks or other things in, possibly alive or dead. But yeah, we see Cal Kestis approach, open his Bacta tank up with a device in his hand. Later on in the trailer, we see someone in sort of similar Jedi robes, pale skin, holding the device, which looks similar to the one Cal has at the beginning. Now, it's hard to see what the one Cal has in the beginning, so I'm not saying it is the same one, but I wonder if maybe that is the same device. I'm not quite sure. Jason, what were your thoughts on this Bacta tank and this mysterious individual?
Yeah, obviously, I am the first one to admit that I am terrible and have not experienced the games and the magic of Jedi Fallen Order. So I'm completely out of my depth with this. But yeah, that whole opening sequence, like Kat says, I watched the trailer and I was like, crikey, this is like watching a motion picture trailer. And then the whole back to tank thing, it was, and the talk of the betrayal and everything. I was thinking, is this a Jedi that's been betrayed? Is this a Sith that's been betrayed? That was my first sort of impressions coming into it blind. So yeah, it's very intriguing. I have to admit, I think I said to Pete when we came on air after seeing it, I'm thinking I'm going to have to get myself a copy of Fallen Order and quickly play through that in time for getting involved with this new game when it comes out, which does look absolutely awesome.
It's interesting you mentioned the Drengir too, because we know now from the High Republic that Bacta as a substance was only invented around about 300 years prior to the events of the Phantom Menace. So whoever's in that tank can't be that old, but you're looking sort of late High Republic era possibly. And I've seen there's a lot of discussion online about what he's wearing after he comes out of the Bacta tank. And it's the fact that the robes he's wearing do seem to have gold on them, which is quite symbolic of the High Republic. So if Cal has found some ruins and he's decided to wake up some guy from the High Republic era, it does feel like the plotline of The Mummy a bit of, don't open the book, don't open the sarcophagus.
And I'm all for that. That's an adventure we're getting. That'll be absolutely fantastic. I think something else that I did enjoy, we saw Sierra or Sarah looking like she's sort of established a Jedi library. And it looks like it is maybe in one of the Zepho temples from the first game. Cat, did you notice that? She had a
I
Zepho guard there.
did. I did it, and she was giving me very much like Jocasta New vibes because she's got her new sort of robes. She's sort of gone from being that Jedi in hiding and looking more or less just like a typical spacefarer back to looking like a true Jedi.
Definitely. So I'm glad she's on board now. She's back, on the light side of the Force, which is fantastic. I love the way how they've incorporated that prequel era Jedi sort of bookcase data banks that we see in the Jedi library in with the Zephyr technology. So I think I'm going to see new planets in this game, but I think maybe your base operations could be where Sierra Jund is, which could be on one of these Zephyr temples, which is fantastic. I hope we get more of the Zephyr because I really enjoyed the Zephyr and the mysteries of the Zephyr, which would predate the High Republic completely as well. So it gives us this much richer, even larger Star Wars universe to look at. So yes, I'm hoping we see some of them. Obviously, you've both mentioned how beautiful some of the cutscenes look like movies. We also saw a lot of gameplay in this trailer, which is also fantastic. They weren't hiding the gameplay. Obviously, the game's coming out in 3 months. I thought gameplay looked fantastic. Looks like they're introducing not just two-player mode, where we see Cal and an ally sort of double teamed on a droid, but we also see Cal has a blaster in his holster. We didn't see him use the blaster in the gameplay, but the blaster's there, so I'm assuming he can use it. And we also Cal using his force powers to full effect in this trailer. Stopping laser bolts like Kylo Ren in The Force Awakens, and then pulling stormtroopers into them, which was quite cool. What were your thoughts on the gameplay, Kat?
I will admit that I was completely, utterly obsessed as soon as I saw Cal use force powers to tame an animal. That is basically a highlight of the trailer for me, is the fact that it's showing gameplay where you can tame an animal using the force to fly them and ride them. And that is just amazing. That was not in the first game to this extent. And that's just going to open it up so much, I think. Because we see it quite a bit in the comics and some of the literature, that there's a lot of sort of force bonding with animals. So to be able to do that in the game would be really cool. I was also really intrigued by the fact that there's some battle droids, and the battle droid combat looked quite interesting. Cal was using the force to sort of just grab them and just cut into them with his lightsaber. So they look a little bit easier to defeat than the stormtroopers, but there were some other kinds of droid. I think we had some sort of imperial droids. They looked quite serious. And from what I've read, there is going to be blaster combat for Cal, not just his lightsaber. You are going to physically be able to use the blaster as well. So you're going to have more of a long range combat as well.
Yeah, I think one of the things I loved was, we're going to see the Imperials. Cal's going to be fighting the Imperials. We know that they're going to be the main enemy, but looks like maybe similar to that Rebels episode, I think, when they end up, or was it a Bad Batch episode? I can't remember, where they end up on that planet where the droids are still activated and think it's still the Clone Wars. We saw in this trailer Cal Kestis fighting Magna Guards, which are obviously General Grievous's guards. We saw him fighting battle droids, and I also believe we also saw the next level up from battle droids. I think they're like the commando droid.
Super battle droids, I think.
Yeah, not the super. I didn't see the super ones, but I saw the commando ones. The ones that are a bit more like sneaky and harder to kill.
Oh yeah, those.
And then I also did see definitely Imperial Dark Troopers as we see them in The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I definitely saw the Dark Trooper droids, which makes me think that Cal is going to have to be breaking into some kind of Imperial facility for reasons unknown. But we sort of know that from the first teaser trailer that I think Cal is sort of being hunted by a Powan. and the sort of the brief description we've seen of the game is that Cal is trying to overcome being one of the last Jedi left, yet still on the run. So I think the Empire haven't just forgotten about him.
Definitely not. And I think, we see Cal in Bacta tanks. We've seen Dark Troopers in this trailer. Again, what we talked about with the Bad Batch, and the Bad Batch is going to be still on air when this game comes out. Are we going to see Cal encounter maybe Imperial cloning facilities, Mount Tantalus, some of these secret plans that the Emperor has? We could very well see this sort of link in with what's happening in the Bad Batch, with what happened in the Mandalorian when we find that base with the battle tanks with the dead things inside them.
I've also heard rumor that I think Ilum is going to be introduced in this game, and that's where there's going to be an Imperial mining facility of Kyber, which is using the Death Star and Star Destroyers to power them and their lasers. But we also know that's going to become Starkiller Base eventually. So if you do get to sort of explore that mining facility, there could be other projects going on there.
Yeah, I mean, well, you definitely see Ilum in the first game, and you see it sort of starting to look like Starkiller Base. It looks similar to how Starkiller Base looks, sort of with the trenches being dug. So we know the Empire are definitely doing that from the first game. What did you make of Cal's character? I can't remember his name now, but you see Cal sort of get helped up off a ledge by a friend, and then you also see them do a combo move together in the gameplay.
Bode.
Bode, that's correct. Yeah, what was your thoughts on Bode?
I'm really excited to see that Cal's got a friend who isn't just a droid. Because Cal's quite the loner in the first game, which it needs to be for a single player game. But I think having Bode is going to provide two elements. It's going to provide hopefully an element for 2-player gaming so that you can actually help each other. And also it's going to provide the story element of the fact that Cal is going to have help. Bode didn't look force sensitive to me. I think he's just using a blaster. So he's probably just part of a rebel cell maybe. But I'm glad that they have brought that second human element in next to Cal for the 2-player mode and add into the story. Although it is making me wonder, where is Merrin?
Yeah, obviously, this game set 5 years after the first game, and what I was hoping for was that we were going to get sort of a Jedi and a Night Sister doing co-op battles together. But in this trailer, obviously we see Sierra sort of doing her thing, but we don't see the Night Sister, and we don't see I've forgotten his name now, but is it Greaser? We don't
Breeze, yeah.
we don't see the pilot, so I wonder what's going on, and this found family we had at the end of the first game of the 4 people, seems to be just Cal on his own, and then this guy joining them. My first thoughts when I seen the guy was, is this guy the guy out the back of the tank? But I don't think it is. After watching it a couple of times now. But yeah, so obviously there's a book, I believe, getting released soon, which sort of tells a story in between the first and second game. So maybe that'll shed some light on what happened with the found family Cal had at the end of the first game, and sort of where those people are now come the start of the second game.
There is. It's Jedi Battle Scars. I'm pretty sure it's releasing March 5th or 7th, one of those 2 dates. So it's like a week before the game releases. So you have to read it quickly before jumping into Jedi Survivor. But I am also hoping that it's going to sort of deal with the fact that this found family seems to have moved into separate ways and explain why some characters aren't apparent in the trailer. Of course, when it came to Jedi Fallen Order, Merrin didn't appear until something like the 5th trailer. So there's a high chance that the trailer that we've seen is only giving us really brief glimpses of what's going to happen, in which case there's plenty of room for Merrin to appear. But I think they're definitely keeping the mystery and suspense in both the teaser trailer and this main trailer. I don't think they want to spoil too much of the story.
No, definitely. Jason, from someone who didn't play the first game, sort of what vibes did you get from this first trailer for the new game, and does it make you want to play the games?
It definitely does. Obviously, I think I've mentioned in the past that I was a huge fan of the Force Unleashed games, and worked my way through both of those games. I think it's just life being busy over the last few years, not really kept up with the gaming sort of circle. So, yeah, definitely one, it's made me want to go and explore Fallen Order. And two, yeah, this game looks absolutely awesome. And obviously, I want to explore the mythology and what they've created with these characters. Obviously, Cal Kestis has become a well-known character within Star Wars and very popular. And you just had to look at the way the game was launched with this trailer, and all the PR that's going along with it. This is a big thing, and it's a big part of where Star Wars is at the moment.
Definitely, and I remember when that first game it got revealed at Star Wars Celebration, and then it was sort of revealed out of nowhere, and then the game was pretty much ready to come out. So similar here, we've sort of literally released the trailer. A couple of figures came out in the last wave of figures for the new game, which was surprising. And here we are, the game is done; it's ready to come out in March, which is fantastic. So it's almost like in March we're going to have Bad Batch finishing up. We're going to have Jedi Fallen Order or Jedi, Survivor, the game and the book, and then obviously Mandalorian season 3 starting as well. Which probably is Mandalorian season 3 is March, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So March is going to be a very crazy time for us Star Wars fans. Kat, is there anything that we didn't mention about the trailer that you've got in your notes that you want to highlight?
I suppose the only other highlight I've got is how different Cal actually looks. He's sort of gone from the sort of cute teenage phase to his like grunge emo phase in this trailer. He looks like he's been through the Clone Wars all over again.
He certainly does. He's gone from that in the first game. He looked very much Riverdale, and now he looks very much sort of Sopranos, shall we say? Let's call it that. Kat, are you going to be buying the game on release and playing it?
Absolutely. I'm getting the PS5 version. It's going into the PS5, and I'm going to enjoy the HD graphics to full effect.
Are you going to buy that special version that comes with the lightsaber hilt?
Oh, it is tempting, but
I'm very tempted.
I think I will get a deluxe version, but not like the super bank breaking deluxe.
Part of me just thinks I'm just going to break the bank and worry about it after. Like, I might not have any money left, but I can just hold the lightsaber in my hand. So that would make it worth it.
It would be really cool if they'd made that lightsaber like a controller that you could actually use in the game.
Oh, now that would be something different. Yeah, but apparently it comes with the lightsaber hilt from the game, and apparently the blade's sold separately, so you can plug blades into it. So I wonder if it's like the same version as what comes with the Disney Parks lightsabers, maybe. Jason, are you going to be playing game number 1 to get ready for game number 2?
I think I'll be certainly looking into it. And yeah, I'm interested. Maybe over the next couple of weeks, if I get a bit of time, with Christmas break, I might have a chance to look into it. Although I know I've got a bit of Lego building ahead of me.
I think what's so awesome about the generation we live in now, especially with streaming, is that the storytelling in the first game was fantastic. But for those who don't game, for a fact that people have put together all the cutscenes and the storyline on YouTube to watch. And also, if you don't want to play the game, but you can watch someone stream playing the adventure for you if you're not very good at games. So anybody who doesn't want to play the game, the story's so awesome. I recommend that you can probably just watch it like you would watch a TV show or a movie from one of these streamers and get all the story knowledge from that. And the same when the second one comes out, when someone plays it and streams it, you'll be able to go along on the adventure that way if you don't like playing games. Because the story is fantastic. I mean, I do like playing games, so I will play it. But I think for those who don't, watch the streams, watch all the cutscenes put together, because this story is top level Star Wars, especially in the first game. and especially in the tie-in comic to the first game, which was Dark Temple, which was fantastic. And I'm hoping this book that comes out is going to be the same. And I've got high hopes for Jedi Survivor when it comes out. So definitely go and play the game. But if you can't, then certainly go watch these streamers, go watch these cutscenes, because you're going to get all the story bits from that and enjoy it just as much. I think that would be my advice to anybody who's sort of doesn't want to play it. I would experience it that way, because you're going to experience a top-notch Star Wars story at the end of the day. Jason, any closing thoughts on this trailer?
Just, it's definitely, it's whet my appetite. So yeah, I'm intrigued and looking forward to what it might reveal.
And Kat, any closing thoughts?
Whoever's in that back to tank, and I suspect it is the villain of the game. I'm already in love with them and their whole moody vibe.
Yes, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. Now for the hard questions. Jason, after watching both trailers, what are you most excited for? Bad Batch Season 2 or Jedi Survivor?
Sorry, it's got to be Bad Batch Season 2 for me. It's the animated series are the love of my life. And yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what Dave Filoni and the team have come up with for this season. We've had to wait a little bit longer than I'd hoped, so I'm ready for it.
And Kat, same question to you.
It's gotta be Star Wars Jedi Survivor. That trailer is one of the best Star Wars trailers I've seen, regardless of medium. It was just incredible and jaw-dropping, and I just want the game in my hands right now.
So I am the deciding vote. For me, it is Jedi Survivor. I think the trailer came out of nowhere, and the fact the game's so close is come out of nowhere. I think Bad Batch Season 2, we've been wondering when it's coming from for a while. And I think for me, that Bacta tank and the mysterious around it, and seeing Sierra setting up that sort of Jedi library in a Zepho area, again, just whet my appetite a lot. So for me, it's Jedi Survivor as well, but still excited for Bad Batch and can't wait. But yeah, I think for me, I definitely am more excited and sort of ready to experience Jedi Survivor more than Bad Batch Season 2. Jason, any closing thoughts on anything else Star Wars related that we've not mentioned today?
Yeah, obviously starting to tease there's reveals starting on the internet for next year's Lego surprises. One thing that I've seen break is the Tusken Raider brickheads. So I'm already starting to looking forward to my Lego adventures next year and frantically trying to start saving more money. Obviously, also today I was looking at that's the thing about the Danilo calendars and stuff. There's some awesome stuff out at the moment. And also I see there's even a Star Wars makeup range that's been released. So just in time for Christmas, there's lots of new and different stuff.
There is indeed. And remember, if you buy more than one of those Tusken Raider brickheads, you've got to stack them in single file.
Yes.
Another person who is reviewing said Tusken Raider and has it on their shelf right now for Blocks Magazine, I can highly recommend it.
There we go.
Oh, you.
Kat, any closing thoughts on anything Star Wars you haven't mentioned today?
I think that the end of 2022 is proving that 2023 is going to be so chock-a-block of Star Wars goodness that we are not even going to know what to do with ourselves. We're going to be just saturating in a pool full of Star Wars goodness. And I am really excited for the new year and all of the goodness in a galaxy far, far away is going to bring.
Yeah, I think we're going to get sort of June, and we would have had Bad Batch, we would have had Jedi Survivor, we would have had Mandalorian Season 3, and then we've probably got Ahsoka to come in the back end of the year. So it's very much a a crazy time indeed. It's going to be a crazy year, 2023 for Star Wars. But that'll wrap this episode up here. Jason, where can the people follow you on social media?
Oh, at Hondo Ling.
That's the
On
one.
all good.
And Kat, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me at Cat Kylo on Twitter. Always happy to talk anything Star Wars and Kylo Ren.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Geordie Jedi Pete. You can also find the podcast on Twitter at Boars Star. And you can find the podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Star Wars Podcast. Thank you very much for listening. If you are listening on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a top review. Only takes a couple of moments and it makes us smile so much here at the Star Wars offices. And remember, always tell that to Kanja Club.
Hello, Star Wars listeners. This is Savannah Odit. You might know me as host of The Dorky Diva Show with my co-host Brian Balance. I am also producer of The Adventures of the Zolan Dart, which is a Star Wars-inspired audio drama that we produced over the last year. If you love stories about smugglers, courage, heroic characters, and maybe a few foes along the way, you should go to thedorkydivashow.com and listen to The Adventures of the Zolan Dart today.
Shout! We've got your pigs.
Were any of the critters harmed?
What did you do now?
I didn't do anything. I just freaked out for no reason.
It was nice doing business with you again. Maybe next time we could deliver something less temperamental.
Now, what you call temperamental, I call fun.
Hey, is there a place nearby where I can make some repairs?
3 clicks south of here, you'll find a small spaceport. They should have what you need, as long as it's nothing too big.
Dynamic class? My stars, you don't hear about many of those still being space-worthy.
It's been in my family for a while.
She's pretty great. Any chance you have a hover cart we can use to load up?
I'll check out the HoloNet to see if anything new has come up in the sector.
My name is Sereth Khan. I am the chief here on Kamai. My people and I have been experiencing food shortages as of late due to unforeseen natural occurrences. We are looking to hire someone.
I say we take this one. The pay is great, and it's the type of job we're familiar with.
Welcome. You must be Captain Otoa. I've already sent word to Pac 2 to expect you in the next cycle or so.
You told him we were coming before we even accepted the job. That's rather presumptuous, isn't it?
Perhaps, though once I received confirmation that you were interested and on your way here, I couldn't help but hope.
Fair enough. Well, we'll be back as soon as we can.
Well, that's not good.
Is that blaster fire I hear?
Ah, so you're the one.
Captain, it sounds like they want to do this the hard way.
I love when they got some fight in them.
This is bad. This is bad. We're about to have a lot of company.
I'll see you soon.